rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for the invocation by Minister Darrell Davis of the Harvest Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Our prayer goes back. Shall we look to the Lord in prayer? Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen. The blessings of the Lord be upon you.
Please be seated. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council with schedule designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and we request those that are wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs?
She's tending to a family matter.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Lechner? Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Pardis?
Here.
Mr. Cantwell?
Here.
Before we kick off the order of business here, we have a presentation. I'll hand it over to the mayor of our township. Mayor Mayor.
Good evening. We have two very special citations this evening, and for the first one I would like to bring forward Chief Fran Pakarak from the Gloucester Township EMS Alliance, as well as Superintendent of the Black Horse Pike Regional School District, Dr. Brian Rapisi, and Ms. Petit, the Principal of Highland High School. If you could please join me. And if I could also ask Mr. and Mrs. Blaylock to please join us as well. Certainly the top priority for us is the health and the safety and the welfare of the residents of Gloucester Township. And we are so very fortunate to have such a capable and professional EMS alliance here in our community that serves our community each and every day. And I've worked very closely with the board and with the members of the GT EMS Alliance, and I see their professionalism and I see the care that they have about the residents of our community day in and day out. But there's one day that is so very, very special, and that was November the 11th, 2016. On November 11th, Mr. Derek Blaylock, who is to my left, who is an avid runner, you said 50-mile marathon? A couple of them. As you can tell, I am not a runner, but Mr. Blaylock is and has been an avid runner for many years. On November the 11th, Mr. Blaylock did his normal course, running on Somerdale Road or near Somerdale Road to Choose Elementary School. Running around Choose Elementary School, once he got around to the side there where the dumpsters are, unfortunately, Mr. Blaylock had a heart attack and went into cardiac arrest. Now, those who know Chu School know how isolated that area is of that school. This was where no one was around, and certainly Mr. Blaylock could not help himself. If it weren't for, though, two individuals, two very special individuals, two citizen heroes who were driving on Summerdale Road and noticed something peculiar near the dumpsters. They did not know what it was, but they couldn't really make out what was happening, but they knew something wasn't right. And these two citizen heroes decided to take it upon themselves to turn in and to find out what was happening over there. Fortunately, these two citizen heroes found Mr. Blaylock and immediately called 911. They stayed with him until the EMS crew arrived and took Mr. Blaylock safely to the hospital. It was touch and go, from what I understand. It was very, very difficult. A couple of days there as he recovered from his cardiac emergency and cardiac arrest. But we wanted to acknowledge today not only the crew from our GTEMS Alliance, who every day work very, very hard. I'd like to bring forward the crew at this time. Our Assistant Chief, Chris Williams. Assistant Chief, could you please come forward? As well as EMT Alex Maslow and EMT John Benelli. Now I will tell you something about John. John today, not only as he serves us as an EMT here in town, but today was his first day in the police academy. He will be a full-time police officer, but he started the academy today, so I can imagine you're a little tired, John, with all that busy day today for you. But this crew, as all the crews, work very, very hard to serve the residents of this community, and we wanted to acknowledge them as well. But we wanted to also acknowledge the two students from Highland Regional High School who, through their courage, really saved and helped save Mr. Blaylock's life. They didn't have to do this. They could have drove by. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, sometimes people just drive by and don't want to observe what's happening. But these two young men went beyond the call of duty. And today we want to bring them up. We want to acknowledge them as role models to their peers, as role models to the citizens of Gloucester Township. So if I could please have come forward Mohammed Hubala, as well as Jack Pisani. So we have citations for them, but even though this is a citation representative of our town council and myself, it is really our whole community that comes together today to say thank you to the two of you and to our EMS Alliance. So thank you very much for, again, what you do day in and day out, and for you guys for stepping up and being there to help a fellow citizen in need. So thank you so very much for doing that. At this time, I would like to bring Chief Pekrak forward to, actually, let me bring, Mr. Blaylock, would you like to come forward and say a few words?
First of all, I owe these guys my life, literally. Appreciate it more than anything you could possibly know. And I think the lesson is, if I learned a lesson from this, because I went out for a run and woke up 10 days later in a hospital without knowing anything, is that if you see something, say something, it can literally turn a person's life around. And these guys did that for me. And the EMT crew that came got me to the hospital safely. The chances of survival of that sort of incident is very rare, I understand. But thank God with the wonderful work the EMTs did and the wonderful work these kids did, I appreciate it so very much, and it means a lot to my family, and I'll be grateful forever.
I know Mrs. Blaylock calls these young men and our EMS crew, her miracle men. So I know they are miracle men to your family, and again, we are so very grateful for them. At this time, Chief, if you'd like to come forward, say a few words.
Obviously, the thing that actually saves lives is the chain of survival. And on that day, it started with recognition. These young men recognized there was a problem. They activated the 911 system. Our BLS providers arrived, early defibrillation, CPR. Got Mr. Blaylock back with a pulse and breathing again. Paramedics came. Paramedics put a breathing tube in, stabilized Mr. Blaylock, and he got transported to a cardiac center at Lourdes and Camden, who worked on Mr. Blaylock for those 10 days to turn him around and get him back to normal health. So basically, it's a testament that this all works. And one of the things that I'd also like everybody here to take away, we'll be offering it this year. We already started Citizen CPR. We started on Martin Luther King's day of volunteerism, and people came out and we trained them. We're going to do that all around the community, because not only does it start with early activation, if the young men were trained in CPR, they did a lot. They could have did a little bit more by actually initiating that CPR on Mr. Blaylock. So basically, it's also a testament to our police dispatchers, or right here in our 911 center, who and our county communication center, who give pre-arrival instructions. So if you don't know how to do CPR, they'll tell you over the telephone and talk you through it. Or if you've had a CPR class and you forgot, they'll talk you through it. So I want to thank everybody. It really, you can see, it takes a team, and Mr. Blaylock standing here is a testament to that teamwork, including our police and our fire. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for your leadership, and of course the board for their leadership as well. So at this time, I'd like to present on behalf of our town council and myself some citations to Mohammed and to Jack first for being the quality people that you are, individuals that you are. So thank you so very much for making that difference. We thank the Blaylock family for joining us here today as well. See how we each can make a difference in our communities, and again, we thank everyone for doing that. We also want to thank some other individuals, longstanding contributors to our community here today for making a difference for many, many years, and that is the Glendora Rescue Squad. Back in 1940, the rescue squad started providing ambulance services to our community to meet the need of a growing community. It was incorporated in 1943. And from 1940 to 1979, they performed not only basic EMS services, but they had a marine unit, they had a heavy truck rescue truck, and they are particularly noted for having the first female EMS commander in the state of New Jersey, Adeline Malfara, which is a great piece of history here in Gloucester Township. And throughout those years, the Glendora Rescue Squad provided volunteer service to our community. And we all know that it takes a lot to volunteer. And I was fortunate enough to have the experience of being a volunteer EMT in Runnymede, where I grew up, so I understand the sacrifices that they make, the training that goes into on your own time to becoming an EMT. And throughout those years, the Glendora Rescue Squad provided invaluable service to our community, and we wanted to recognize them because, as we know, that society gets complex and our time is torn in different directions, and so it's difficult to get volunteers out and to commit the time that it takes to be a volunteer EMT. And so, unfortunately, back on June 26, 2012, they ceased operation. But what is so great about this is not only their service, but it is also the fact that they want to continue, that organization, the men and women of that organization want to continue servicing and serving our community. They have a Glendora Rescue Squad, which you may be aware off of Choose Landing Road down here. So they have a building. They had a unit, a squad, an ambulance that they then donated to the Gloucester Township EMS Alliance and have worked very closely with the Alliance to help the Alliance continue to provide great service here in Gloucester Township. And that is really a testament to who they are as individuals and the fact that they want to continue the legacy of the Glendora Rescue Squad and all the hard work that they put into that and the amount of hours that went into that. So what I would ask is all those, whether they're life members or anyone who had association with the Glendora Rescue Squad, could you please come forward and join us here? So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the faces of the volunteers who have given so much to our Gloucester Township community, and we wanted to recognize them not only for the service, but also for their continued service and their cooperation in making sure that all of you have proper care through 24 hours, 7 days a week. And so we thank them on behalf of the Township Council and myself, not only for your service, but for what you continue to do in our community. And we have a proclamation that we will hang in the building that designates and recognizes the Glendora Rescue Squad and all of your efforts. In addition to that, Chief, I know you have a presentation as well, so if you would like to bring your plaque forward.
I really want to thank each and every one of you. 75 years, the Glendora Rescue squads service this community. Did rescue services all the way up to 1990 before the fire services took it over, and ambulance service all the way up until 2012. You know, these guys got a lot to be proud of. You built a great organization. You had a great reputation, and I can't thank you enough on behalf of our board, myself and our members, for what you've done for us. When the EMS Alliance was born, you allowed us to operate out of your building, and I thank you for that. And in the end, now you've turned your property over to us. Now you're a part, every one of you is a part of our family, and we're part of your history. We have a plaque. We have a plaque here, and just like to read the inscription because it says it all. Basically, it says the Glendora Rescue Squad proudly provided the residents of Gloucester Township with rescue and ambulance services from its formation in 1940 until June 26, 2012. On March 20th, 2016, the Glendora Rescue Squad transferred its station properties, ambulance to the Gloucester Township EMS Alliance to ensure that their mission to provide quality emergency medical services to Gloucester Township would be continued. And for that, we thank you and will be forever in your debt. In addition, we had a number of model ambulances made, and this was your last ambulance. It's now red and white. It now carries the number 806 on it. It's proudly in service again, servicing the community, answering ambulance calls. So when you see ambulance 806, and we're going to put the tag on it, donated by the Glendora Rescue Squad on that truck, so the community knows where that truck came from when we had these models. We hope that after this you join us upstairs in the law library. We have some cake, opportunity for us all to talk and get to know each other. So we appreciate you stopping upstairs. And again, I thank you for your service to the community.
It's up to you. Go ahead.
My mother was Adeline Malfera. Okay. Really? I'm short. My mom was Adeline Malfera. She was the first female commander in New Jersey of any rescue squad. She could never get me or my brothers to do it because none of us could stand the sight of blood, but she mentored a lot of people, especially Jeff and Kim, and I just want to say thank you for 10 years later. She's been gone for 10 years. Thank you for 10 years later, still remembering her, and she's still talked about in this township and the impact she had on everyone, so thank you. She'd be proud.
Well, again, thank you so very much for what you have done for our community. And ladies and gentlemen, you saw tonight how a community comes together, how a community makes a difference, and you all are the reasons why Gloucester Township is such a great place to live. And I thank you so very much for your citizenship and for your dedication to our residents. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll take a 5-minute recess before we resume our council meeting.
I knew it well. I mean, I know it well. You could come back to the service. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. One thing.
Oh, some guy wants to.
I don't know what it was, but at the end of the day, I got pretty stoned. In there at the meeting. I knew when I threw up twice, I felt like crap. What's happening?
Yeah, very good. Can't think of it. It's nice. It's really nice.
I'm not awake enough that I can go back to sleep. I can't go back to sleep, and then it's like, I'm ready to go. 5 hours. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I'm not ready. I'm not. I think. Would you? I can. And I'm like, I get up. 5 o'clock in the morning. People laugh at me. Yeah, I had that too. I check it real quick for me. Thanks for your help the other day. 6:30. I didn't realize that was your son. Yeah, I had no idea. I just get it, you did a lot of work. Yeah, it was a remarkable thing. We didn't do that. It wasn't getting done by it. You know what I mean? It was just thinking. Oh, do you really?
hell of a sound. It's great facility. A lot of good. How are you? Yeah, I didn't get to meet him. I felt bad. Oh, Michelle? Yeah, the gas company. That's her name. Yeah, she actually retired as a social worker. To the creek. No, she worked in the district. That's right, yeah. She was a teacher at the time I went there. 85. And where was it? Coach or okay, at Highland. Yeah. Oh, wow. You graduated. I just wish I graduated. They were all there when I was there. I love Lewis. I was looking at that on the wall. Oh.
Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call again, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Crothers?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Mr. Cantwell?
Here.
I will now open the first public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Now we'll close the first public portion. Waive the readings, accept the minutes of the regular meeting January 9th, 2017. I'll accept the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Now we have ordinances, second reading, there will be a public hearing for each one. Ordinance 0-17-01. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting amendment number 6, amending ordinance 0-97-17, commonly known as the Glen Oaks redevelopment plan, to establish an office, commercial, and planned residential overlay district for specific tax blocks and lots pursuant to NJSA 40A 12A-1 et sec. This allows for an area redevelopment for different land uses. As we said at our last meeting, particularly the area on Lower Landing Road where the old Glendora Motel was. Is that correct, Mr. Lechner?
Yes. Black Horse Pike.
Black Horse Pike.
I think that's what.
Yes, correct, but thank you. We'll now open up to the public portion. Seeing none, close the public portion, entertain a motion.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next ordinance, 0-17-02. It's a bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of capital equipment and the construction and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $6,632,363. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $6,316,000 and $635, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. This is the capital budget for the upcoming year, which calls for the reconstruction, repaving of various sidewalks throughout the township, the repaving of various streets, various improvements to recreational areas, installation and acquisition of traffic signals and street lighting, improvements to various buildings in the township, acquisition of additional replacement equipment for public works, in addition, and also for the police department, and office and computer equipment for the township building, and also various township projects, including but not limited to Blackwood Lake, the compost facility, and bus shelters. Now open for a public hearing. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro, Ariel. On this new amount of borrowing, what does that bring the current total municipal debt to?
I believe, I don't have the exact number, I believe it's just for municipal debt, it's 65 million.
Okay. What does that bring the total township debt, including school districts, up to?
I don't have those numbers.
None of you have any idea what that number
I
is?
can tell you that according to the annual debt statement, we are right now at 1.503% of the average of the last 3 years of the assessed value of the town, and we're permitted to go to 3.50%.
Does that audit give you a number or just a percentage?
No, it shows numbers too. I don't have that document.
You have the percentage, but you don't have the numbers?
I have the percentage, I don't have the numbers.
Okay. Other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Sweet.
Is this for agenda or?
No, this is for a second reading of the bond ordinance.
Sam Sweet from Ariel. Just want to ask what's going on with Brian O'Neill, if anything? I couldn't find anything. Is it
Not
still?
part of the public hearing for the bond ordinance. You have to save that for the second public portion.
Okay, my fault. That's
All
what I
right, no
thought.
problem.
I'll save
Grab a
it.
seat here, Sandy, that we have to walk up.
What's that?
Grab a seat up here.
No.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. I entertain a motion. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotter?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next, we have a resolution of the consent agenda. Any council member wishing to remove any of the consent agenda items, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotter?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. 1 second. We did not receive any GT.gov access emails. We'll now open up the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, raise your hand. Mr. Sweet.
It's sitting all day, so the exercise is good for me. Evening, Council. Sam Sweet from Ariel. You guys know all that. Other than it's in court, is there any new news on Brian O'Neill?
Mr. Carlmere?
I have not received any reports lately to my recollection, either via email or any other fashion.
Mr. Leck, has anything come through zoning or planning regarding this matter?
We have revised plans before for the site plan we just received.
Is that the 125-bed facility?
I believe that's what it's for, yes.
Okay.
The permitted use.
The permitted use
I haven't
one?
actually looked at the whole application, but that's the only thing that's been approved.
Mr. Lechner, any idea when that would be heard before planning board? I know you just received it, but a few months?
These are revised plans, so the board's already heard it, so they're plans that are revised to the professionals' reports.
Okay.
And I believe then they will have to go back to the board for final approval. But
Okay.
I don't have it
something I can
say more.
All right, thank you. If you can keep us abreast of it, and Mr. Hutchinson, you are liaison to the planning board, keep us informed as well.
Right now, it's at the zoning board.
Okay, all right,
It's not at the planning board.
all right. Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Did you ever have that conversation with the mayor?
Yes, we had a brief conversation regarding that. The thought process, and I shared the same thought process with him as well. Using open space money to purchase that parcel of land. I believe he purchased that land for $6 million from the Camden Diocese. He's a businessman. I don't believe that that would be the price for the township if we were to purchase that parcel of land. So at this time, we're not inclined to purchase that from Mr. O'Neill.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening again, Ray Polidor from the historic village of Ariel. What is the status on the progress of Blue Line that we were talking about in front of Choose Landing Road as far as council is concerned?
As far as council is concerned, I conveyed our sentiments to the mayor's office. I know that there was some talk with legislation or something that a blue line was not.
The federal
Yes.
DOT has issued a direct, apparently this was a,
Thank
issues
you.
all across the country, but the federal DOT issued a directive that since it's not in conformance with the national manual on utility traffic markings and signs, that it's, I don't know if they said it was illegal, but they said they should not be put in on the roadway because it doesn't match the standards for traffic control and traffic safety markings and pavement.
There's a recent article, front page Courier Post,
Those two, so apparently the feds are opposed to anybody doing it. That's about all I can really tell you, I don't have any.
And
There's a legislator in New Jersey that.
John Bramnick.
Excuse me?
John
Mr.
Bramnick.
Who wants to flip that around and pass legislation that allows that. I think it's a wait and see with that.
Well, here's my position on that for the most part. And I spoke with Assemblyman Bramnick a few times on this. He has a resolution that is being held up and not being brought up before the Assembly. If it passes, it's called the Blue Line Resolution. Will put New Jersey in the position to put these blue lines in. The resolution is drafted as such. Now, if any of you spend any time watching the inaugural parade in Washington, D.C., the parade route followed a blue line. Those are the feds in Washington, D.C. that put that blue line there for those folks to follow.
That was temporary.
I watched it. I took pictures of it if you'd like to see.
Is that just a temporary line that will wear off? Or you think it's
My understanding is the feds believe that this would be confusing to those that are handicapped because the blue line is basically the color for handicap reserved spots and areas. People are handicapped. They're not stupid. That blue line in between the two blue lines.
I understand that, but those are the rules. And if you don't follow the rules and there's an accident, somebody could always use.
And I agree. It's the government's not going to disregard. Although I shouldn't say that because governments have been doing that for years, disregarding their own laws and others' laws. So I would encourage if council would like to support their police with this blue line, and then maybe after we get through with that, we can put the red line in front of the firehouses and the EMT buildings in the township. If you're interested in doing that, I would suggest you support this by contacting Fred Madden, Gabrielle Mosquera, and Paul Moriarty, who can help Mr. Bramnick, Assemblyman Bramnick, get this to the Assembly and not have it stuck in conference, and it could be passed. And I'll ask you if you would like any feedback or would like to comment on that, because I know that the Assembly folks and the Senator are here once in a while, and for whatever we have going on, it wouldn't be a bad idea to reach out to them and show your support. and have them support this because it's ridiculous. It really is. We should have that. The other towns are not taking them down, by the way. They're not making them go away. They're keeping them.
Okay.
Your input on contacting the assembly people and our senator to push this resolution through.
I'll speak to the assembly office.
And the rest of you?
Into it. I mean, I respect, Ray, I mean, if the Fed Department of Transportation has spoken on it, though, I don't know as much about traffic regulations and patterns and all that type of stuff, and I don't want to act like I'm an expert.
Google the blue resolution, New Jersey resolution. It'll tell you all about it. It's pretty simple. And if it makes it before the assembly, it could be done. I'd like to see that blue line out here on Trees Landing Road and show support of our police.
I hope you understand. I mean, if it's a safety concern, then, you know, there's a...
Look at the resolution. I'm sure the assembly was looking at safety issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Radish.
Good evening, Council. Frank Radish from Fenwick Lane. Gloucester Township has been doing a great job of alerting residents and providing information using the multiple databases like the Nixle and the police messages. It seems like every day I'm getting a traffic alert or some sort of community message. I would like to request that email reminders be set out about council meetings on the day of the meeting, and that email include time and location, a link to the agenda, and a link to the eGov question site for the residents so that they can easily submit questions if they like. It seems like this can be done under the community category in the same regard as some emails that have gone out recently about the MLK Day of Service, the SAFE support group, and the mayor's message about full-day kindergarten. Do you think that's something we can do?
I would forward that to the administration, ask the administration if they can look into that for us.
Whose decision is that?
The administration.
Who is that? Just
Administration is the mayor's office, and the business administrator. We're the legislative side of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Lechner?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Cronin?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Curtis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cantwell?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
Thanks very much for coming this evening. Have a good night.
Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you for coming out this evening. Thank you for your comments. Congratulations to those two fine young men that were heroes, and have a safe trip home.
Mrs. Winters?
I wanted to thank Jack and Mohammed for, taking it upon themselves to create a huge change in someone's life without even really thinking of that when they initiated it. Gloucester Township EMS for all that they do, and Glendower Rescue for all they do. I'd also like to remind everyone that Friday, February 3rd is Go Red for Women Day. It's the awareness for women and heart disease. So wear red on Friday, February 3rd to support that.
Mr. Mignon?
Thank you all for coming out, and stay dry and warm with the wind. You always hear me talk about the movie It's a Wonderful Life. So tonight, the story about the two students, Muhammad and Jack, truly was a wonderful life story for Mr. Blaylock. And also, what an awesome tribute to Mrs. Adeline Malfarra and the Glendora Rescue Squad. Thank you. Be safe.
Mrs. Trotter?
Congratulations to Jack and Muhammad. I'm so proud of both of them. I've known Jack for a while, him and his family, so congratulations to both of them. It takes a lot to take an extra second out of your day to stop and maybe check out something that doesn't look right. I'm reminded of a story I saw on Facebook just recently. Somebody was driving home and saw something, and just because they didn't have a couple extra seconds, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, to stop to see if someone was okay, they just kept going, and it just blew my mind that they could not stop to see what happened. And they just posted that they did this. So these guys reminded me of just how good our residents and our community is and how we work together. I want to thank the Glendora EMS for their contribution to the Gloucester Township EMS. Having been a resident of Glendora for a long time, I've utilized the volunteer end of the EMS, and I'm very proud of their service and what they've accomplished, and I'm glad to see that a part of their history will now become a part of Gloucester Township's history. And thank you, Orlando, for the what you did to make the Martin Luther King Day so successful this past week. To see the amount of kids and families turn out was just very inspiring and inspirational. People came from all over, not just Gloucester Township, to participate. And the project that I was involved with, it's just got to speak to some really nice people, and they're very proud of Gloucester Township and what they can do to give back, and true testament to what you've done and how this program has grown over the years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Just to piggyback on MLK Day, it's the volunteers that make this program what it is. We had 698 registered volunteers, but there was far more that didn't register. Chief, we need to have your police department register. You too, McLaughlin, back there. But there was 31 projects that were spread out and fanned out through the entire township. Just some numbers, because I had to report them to Global Citizen, which is the organization that provides the T-shirts. They provided 500 T-shirts, free T-shirts for MLK Day. There was 1,013 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that were made for the Cathedral Kitchen and the Neighborhood Center in Camden, and also for Choose United Methodist to provide for their outreach the following day. There was 18 boxes about this big that Councilman Mignon was the project leader for, that are being packed up, that will be repurposed and provided for children and adults in impoverished neighborhoods. There was 400 bags of cookies that were made over here at the senior center that was brought down to the Cathedral Kitchen. And then 20 blankets that they were no-sew blankets that families, and this is, I think you joined part of it at the end, or you were part of it last year, but the sewing kits that they're put together to make a blanket to provide to women and children that are part of the Women's Center down in Lakeland. And that's just some of the projects that took place that day. But I want to thank everyone that came out to volunteer and be part of that day. Congratulations to Jack and Muhammad. As a runner, I wonder, I'm thinking to myself, I was telling Mr. Carlenberg, there's times where he sees me on an intersection, he just waved as I'm bending over, gasping for air. And but these two students stopped by and then they saved a life, so that's a wonderful thing. To Mr. Polidoro's comments about the blue line, yes, it's a wonderful gesture to support our police department, but I think that the men and women of Gloucester Township Police Department know that council and administration support them through the tools and resources that we provide them, as evident what's in our capital budget that was approved today. That is I think, more of a gesture. But I will forward your comments and have a conversation with the Assembly and Senate office. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Have a great evening. That's it.